What's up, peeps? CmanXP here. It's been a while. I just got over being sick and haven't posted a video in a while, and I saw something that should be a good one. It should be quite interesting. I've kept my tongue pretty tame when it comes to the whole feminism thing, the neo-Nazi feminist propaganda and all that nonsense that they got going on. But I saw something that pretty much just pushed me over the edge, and I got to comment on it. That being said, I try to keep an optimistic mindset, be a bit of an idealist, open to interpretation and other people's, what's the word I'm looking for, opinions and views. So we're gonna go ahead and watch this video, and I'm gonna give my impressions of it, and these are gonna be my opinions. So they're for me, they're my own. You're allowed to have your own opinions. If you agree with me, that's fine. If you disagree, that's also fine. That's your right. Everybody's got an opinion. My chair's very loud, so sorry about that. Anyways, let's just go ahead and jump right into it.
It is, quote, unethical to call breastfeeding natural because doing so might undermine feminism. The study says, quote, coupling nature with motherhood can inadvertently support biologically deterministic arguments about the roles of men and women in the family. Kathy Aru is a journalist and public...
Okay. Coupling nature with motherhood is unethical? I don't understand that, because being a mother is probably the most natural thing that a human being can do, or any animal for that factor. And I think this is just an entire news story just based around people saying that breastfeeding doesn't support feminism. And I'm go ahead and I'm gonna guess that there's gonna be little to no actual scientific background to this. So let's go ahead and jump into this again. Also, they say studies have shown. Who studied this? Who are the scientists that are backing this? And they still call themselves scientists. Anyways, let's just...
arguments about the roles of men and women in the family. Kathy Aru is a journalist and publisher of Catalina Magazine, and she joins us now. Kathy, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So this was kind of a baffling story. One, that people are inserting politics into breastfeeding, which seems like it would be off limits for politics. But,
right.
But two, why it would be controversial to call breastfeeding natural. If breastfeeding is not natural, what is natural?
All right, I don't know this guy, but he's my new hero. What if breastfeeding isn't natural, then what is natural? The breastfeeding seems like the most natural thing that could happen to a mother and her child. Think about it, horses, dogs, cats, whenever they have puppies, kittens, calves, foals, what's the first thing they do? They teach them to nurse off the breast. I almost said tit there, but that seems a little bit uneloquent. But that's the first thing that they have to teach them to do as a mother, is to nurse off of their own body. So if that doesn't say natural, then I'd really like to see what she retorts with, because this is probably gonna be good. This is an excellent question. This guy's my new hero.
Well, breastfeeding doesn't come naturally, as pediatricians will tell you. It's not exactly easy. There are lactation specialists out there. There's a whole industry out there. So breastfeeding isn't exactly natural. It doesn't come naturally to women. So what they're saying is, which I'm so happy there's a study out there that are finally letting women not have this guilt trip, that it's okay to hand the formula over to daddy, to the men, and it's natural for...
Oh, my God. Oh, okay, well... I was right. It was going to be a stupid retort, but she started off by saying that there are lactation specialists out there that say breastfeeding isn't easy. Okay, sure, that may be true. You know what else isn't easy? Childbirth. So does that mean that childbirth is unnatural? Because if anybody follows up saying that, then we're doomed. We've got no hope. We're done. That's it. But anyways...
natural for a man to feed a baby. So they're saying that only a woman able to feed a child is inappropriate. It's unethical and inappropriate. And I'm so glad that women are let off the hook. Finally.
I mean, it's not unethical or inappropriate, whatever those words mean. I mean, it's the opinion of some
Okay, I cut this guy off because I just gotta voice my thoughts. I hope he's of the same mindset. But it's unethical for a man to not have to feed a baby, that it should be only the woman feeding a baby. Last time I checked, ladies and gentlemen, men can't breastfeed. If we're talking about bottles, that's a completely different thing. But if men were able to breastfeed, then maybe we could consider that unnatural. Just a tiny bit. Have you ever seen the movie Junior with Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito? Now, see, that is probably the most unnatural thing I've ever seen. It's genetics and other crap like that that they messed with. But see, it's not natural. So, to follow up with an argument that men should be able to feed babies as well, and that it shouldn't be only the women who feed the baby, trying to roll that into a breastfeeding argument is completely invalidated and erroneous. So, strike one, girl with purple shirt.
Opinion of some physicians that breast milk is superior to formula, and other people disagree, and it's a debate that has raged for quite some time. But what you seem to be saying is it is bad because it suggests that women have a different role in motherhood than men do, but they do because women are the only people biologically capable of bearing children. Is that now a controversial observation?
Well, the study is saying, though, that women are not the only ones who could feed the children. So that's what they're trying to...
Once again, this guy, everybody, this guy right here. So this guy's pretty much on point. To say that women have a more superior role in motherhood than men do, that's exactly right. You know why? Because men can't be mothers. Only women can. In terms of, all right, you know what? In terms of the feminist movement, I'm fine with it. That's cool. I'm all about equality. I'm good with that. But when it comes to this neo-Nazi feminist bullshit, when it's saying that breastfeeding is unnatural because it implies that only women can feed the baby. In terms of breastfeeding, that's absolutely true. And if you think otherwise, shut up. Just go jump in a lake somewhere and stay there. Drown yourself. Don't do that. Women are only capable of being mothers. Women are the only people who can carry a child in their womb because they are biologically able to do so. Now, okay, women out there, when it comes to having children, you win. You're hands down. You are superior to men in every way, shape, or form. Because I know if I was carrying a child as a man, I would probably be the most miserable sack of crap ever. I wouldn't be able to deal with the pain. I wouldn't be able to deal with all of the hormonal imbalances or anything like that. So when it comes to women, I have nothing but respect for them in terms of childbirth. You win. I'm not going to tell you how to give how to have a child. I'm so angry that I'm stuttering. Okay. Okay. So let's see how she follows up with this one.
Say it is natural for others to be able to feed the children, so the whole burden is not on the mother. So that's what they're trying to say with this study.
But that's okay. First of all, of course that's true,
right?
Of course, but that's kind of a decision. What do you mean? I don't think women are stupid.
Oh well, there are some women that actually. I interviewed a pediatrician that had a mother that had a child starving for 2 weeks. She was not able to lactate. She was not able to produce breast milk for 2 weeks. The baby had lost weight, and she refused to give that baby formula for fear that her baby was not going to get the perfect breast milk and would have to turn to formula. The baby ended up in the NICU.
That's a totally fair point, and that's a shame when people feel like there's no alternative.
Okay, so she's basing her entire argument off of one specific case where a woman wasn't able to produce breast milk. Now, you know what? Sometimes, be it hormones, genetics, or any type of chemical imbalance, maybe that's gonna happen. But if that's the case, then you're gonna have to switch the formula, or else you're gonna starve your baby. Now that's just common sense, which seems to be an incredibly short supply nowadays. So, when it comes to breast milk, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a geneticist, and I'm not a lactation specialist, if you want to call it that. And I have no idea of the benefits of breast milk over formula or whatever. I'm not educated in that, so I can't comment on that. But what it seems to me is that if you rather favor breast milk over formula, and you're not able to produce said breast milk, so you're gonna have to switch to formula. That's just, you gotta go down to brass tacks. Baby's gotta be fed. You can't starve the baby. And just for this lady to base the entire argument off of one specific case, it's very narrow-minded, and it's kind of a juvenile juvenile approach to what's the word I'm looking for? Juvenile approach to present her argument, or to back her argument rather. So let's see what this guy has to say.
Perhaps there are some, but that's not what's really going on here. This is gender politics intruding on the personal decisions that parents make.
Well, we need it,
it's
though.
also blurring the lines. It's suggesting, by the way, that men can breastfeed, which I don't think they can.
It's suggesting that men could, well, I don't know, but it's suggesting
well,
that
I do
men,
know. The answer is they can't.
So.
I have 4 children. I can tell you.
I don't know your secret.
So he actually asked her straight up, men can't breastfeed, can they? And let's face it, this guy already knew the answer, and she said, I don't know. Yes, you do! Yes, you do! Men cannot breastfeed, or else they would be able to carry children. Unless there's some sort of crazy hormone imbalance. The men can't breastfeed. It's common sense, people. This is driving me nuts. Just open your eyes. And just to say that breastfeeding isn't natural because a man can't do it, it makes no sense. What the... Oh my god. I need to go punch something. I need to throw something.
It's suggesting that men could, well, I don't know, but it's suggesting that
I do know. The answer is they can't.
So.
I have 4 children. I can tell you.
I don't know your secrets, but no. What they're saying is that men can feed children. They're finally putting a study out there that's saying that breast milk is not the only way to go. There are other ways,
okay,
and other things
Kathy,
are
you're
natural.
dodging what I'm saying. Look, I strictly speaking, I don't disagree with you.
Thank you.
But the debate is whether breast milk is better or worse than formula. And again, that is a scientific debate that nutritionists and physicians can have.
Right.
This is feminist groups saying, how dare you suggest that it's better for women to feed babies because that somehow ties them biologically to the act of procreation. And my only point is, feminists, as usual, are helping to obscure biological realities because they don't like them. And that's an attack on science, and I'm against that.
It's a study that's just saying it's inappropriate to say that breast milk is the only natural way to feed a child. A man could naturally feed a child in other ways.
Actually, a man can't naturally feed a child. A man can't produce formula.
I mean, baby, and naturally give it formula. Natural. It's natural. Loving is natural.
Okay. It's just. Can you just take 3 steps back?
No.
And acknowledge that there's something pretty awful about inserting gender politics into something as beautiful and intimate as the first days of a child's life.
You know
and
what?
maybe parents can say, hey, back off.
It's not beautiful. Breastfeeding is not beautiful. Breastfeeding, it causes so many headaches, and it can be so horrible. And it has.
So this guy pretty much hit the nail on the head. This whole breastfeeding isn't natural. It seems like that's the cover of the entire story that they're trying to cover here, and they're putting that on the back burner, and she's following up with, well, what they're trying to say is that men can feed babies too. Of course they can feed babies, but when it comes to breastfeeding, no, they can't. I mean, if you're not wanting to breastfeed, that's an entirely different thing. If you don't want to breastfeed and you want to switch to formula, that's on you. You know, that's your decision, and you're well within your rights to make that decision. But you can't tell a man you need to go breastfeed just because I don't want to switch to formula, but I also don't want to be the only one feeding the baby. That makes no sense. If you want to feed your baby and you want to stick to breast milk, I'm sorry, ladies, but that's the only solution that you've got, because men can't do it unless they've gotten some crazy genetic reconstruction surgery to where they have mammary glands where that will fill on, you know, just a snap of a finger. But wife says lactate, and then the man will suddenly produce milk and then go feed their baby. Sure, if you have the kind of money and the time to put into that kind of research to produce a man who can lactate on command, sure, go for it. I mean, but if you're an average Joe or average Janine, I don't know, whatever, an average person who can't afford that and is just a regular couple that has a baby, sorry, and you want to use breast milk, you're stuck. Sorry, that's just biologically sound, and it's just pretty much doctrine. Unless there's no unless. No, I'm just gonna leave it there.
That's just saying it's inappropriate to say that breast milk is the only natural way to feed a child. A man could naturally feed a child in other ways.
Actually, a man can't naturally feed a child. A man can't
He can
produce
naturally
formula.
love that
I mean, like,
baby and naturally give it formula. Natural. It's natural. Loving is natural.
Okay. It's just. Can you just take 3 steps back?
No.
And acknowledge that there's something pretty awful about inserting gender politics into something as beautiful and intimate as the first days of a child's life.
You know
and
what?
maybe parents can say, hey, back off.
It's not beautiful. Breastfeeding is not beautiful. Breastfeeding, it causes so many headaches, and it can be so horrible. And as a pediatrician told me, it doesn't come naturally for so many women. So this study, I think, is wonderful because so women can finally step back and say, wow, it's okay to hand the bottle and the baby over to dad or my girlfriend or whatever the case may be.
Half of that sentence is correct.
So the basis of her argument is that saying you can't say breastfeeding is natural because it doesn't come naturally to some women, and it makes them uncomfortable and it gives them headaches and, you know, anything of the sort. Now that may be true, but if you've gone through the pain of childbirth and say that was enough pain for you, I've hit my pain threshold, I can't do anymore, that's fine, you're well within your rights. But then switch to formula. Now, people argue that it's not natural, and going from the base definition of natural, it wasn't produced by the body, so technically yes, it's not natural. But it's not to say that it is harmful. So if you're going to try and dodge the pain of breastfeeding, and, you know, I think, you know, they get sore nipples or they get headaches, and it's just not a very fun thing to do, and especially when the baby's teething, dear God. But if you want to avoid that, then switch to formula. But to attack saying that breastfeeding isn't natural, it's like the most natural thing that a mother can do besides have the child herself. I'm really excited to see where she takes this. She's dug herself into a hole.
Maybe.
Half of that sentence is correct, of course. It is absolutely okay to do that.
Thanks.
But I'm just wondering, final question for you, because this is giving you a little bit of a headache.
I'm sorry.
No offense to you. No, it's not your fault, but just the whole subject is so crazy. If it's not natural to breastfeed, how did the species get to where it is now? Like, why didn't we die out several millennia ago?
I think we found other ways, like formula, to feed the babies. So, years ago,
like during the medieval period, like, where did you get the Similac then?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not quite sure, but this breastfeeding phenomenon has been going on for the last 10 years. But before that, our mothers weren't all exactly into breastfeeding. You had the feminism, the revolution, the 70s. Women did not breastfeed like they do nowadays. So the breastfeeding has not always been the answer.
Man, I'm glad my kids are older and I don't have to weigh into this stuff. Kathy, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so she said, the guy made an excellent point. If breastfeeding is not natural, then how did we survive as a species? Now let's take it all the way back to, say, caveman days. Now, if you believe in evolution, then you can probably get on board with this. And if you believe in creationism, then this is just gonna be generalized. If you agree with me or don't, that's your right, whatever. But say if we went back to the caveman days and cavemen, I don't want any feminists attacking me. Cavemen and cave people were having babies. How were they being fed? I would assume that they were breastfeeding, because that's what I would assume, because that's all they knew how to do. They were more close to their natural basic animal instincts back then, so that's probably what they did, was breastfeed. Now she's saying that they had something like formula. Back in caveman days, you think they had formula? I sincerely doubt it. But here's the thing. The only thing that would be an alternative to a cave woman breastfeeding would probably be to milk like a goat or a cow or something like that, which I don't know if they carried or if they collected if they had livestock. I thought they just were hunters and gatherers. Regardless, they would probably have to siphon milk from a different animal, like a goat or a cow or something like that. How the hell would they do that other than bowls and then just capturing a domesticated animal and just it wouldn't happen, because breastfeeding is natural. So the whole thing behind this is basically a basis for the neo-Nazi feminists, and I say the neo-Nazi feminists, the ones who are like, I hate men, and want to put on their steel-toed boots and take to the streets and declare war on male genitals and kick all the men in the crotch. Those are the neo-Nazi feminists. Now the ones who want equality, I'm cool with, because they don't do this stupid bullshit. But when it comes to the feminists just stating that breastfeeding isn't natural, basically the whole argument is that we don't want to breastfeed. We want men to do it. Well, here's the thing. When it comes to breastfeeding, men can't do it. So if you don't want to breastfeed, doesn't that mean you want to be more like a man? Which defeats the entire concept of feminism by itself? You're rolling all these arguments out and they're doubling back on yourself. You're just lumping yourselves up with the ignorant people that can't make an argument, that try to back things with fake science so that they can argue their point across. Just because I don't want to do it. I want to get paid more. Okay, I'm not saying that the wage gap isn't a real thing, because I'm not educated enough to make that assumption. But if you want to get paid the same, that's fine. Do it in a civil manner. Don't be declaring war on everything that is law and that has been sound and biological for generations and millennia. Because this is stupid. This is ridiculous. Saying that breastfeeding isn't natural, what's next? Urination is not natural. Defecation is not natural. Breathing isn't natural. Everyone should be hooked up to an iron lung. I don't get it. This is just, it blows my freaking mind. Okay, look. Like I said before, I'm not against feminism. I'm not a feminist myself, but in terms of men and women being created equal, or being equal in the eyes of the law and, you know, workman's place and everything else like that, I'm cool with. But when you start attacking basic human biology just for the sake of gender politics and feminism, you are not a feminist, you are crazy. You are stone cold fucking nuts. And you need to be institutionalized and put on pills. Anyways, that's all I have to say on that subject. If you agree with me or disagree with me, please say so in the comments. I'd love to hear your feedback. I need to go move on before I have a stroke or just have a mental breakdown. But anyways, thank you everybody for watching. This is CmanXP with an incredibly agitated rant video, and I hope to see you guys next time. And as always, keep it classy, internet, for the children, for the breastfed children. Nah, I'm just kidding. For all children. I'll see you guys next time.